Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome to our Monday morning video to kickstart the week, where we have one of the most significant advances in transfer news thus far in the summer window, because we have a triple header this afternoon. We've got three players to talk about. Celtic have inquired about one, they're considering the other, and apparently an official bid made for the third. It's a big day and we are seeing rapid developments. Things are changing quite quickly. So I better hurry up and get this done, because by the time it's finished, we might have another one. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. It's a new week on the channel and I'll be here every day to report on all of these transfer updates. If you want to stay in the loop, go down below, hit those buttons. It's absolutely free. As I said, we have a triple header this afternoon. We're going to start with a player who we've already spoke about over the weekend, because Celtic have now apparently made their first bid for that player. So let's talk about that. The exclusive from Mark Hendry around about half an hour ago at point of recording is that Celtic have submitted their first €2 to €3 million bid for Swedish winger Isaac Jansson. That is the winger we spoke about over the weekend, who currently plays for Rapid Vienna in Austria, the same club where we signed Nicholas Kuhn from, while Celtic have went down the same route to find the Nicholas Kuhn replacement by signing the Nicholas Kuhn replacement. There was rumours of this over the weekend that Celtic were considering him as one of many winger options. Well, if these reports are to be believed, we're taking that to the next step, because we have made our first bid. And it comes after a bit of mixed reporting, because earlier in the day, Sky Sports in Austria was reporting that this would be far more expensive than €2 to €3 million. Sky Austria reported around 9 o'clock this morning that there was a record transfer imminent for Rapid Vienna. Several offers already in the high digit million range had been received. So we're talking, €8-9 million perhaps. That was apparently the case. Anthony Joseph then reported off the back of that as a Sky Sports colleague, saying that Celtic had made an inquiry and it was understood that the Austrian club are looking for something in the fee of £10 million after these apparent high million bids. That's been rubbished by Mark Hendry, and we find ourselves at a place of conflict in the reporting. We've got Sky Sports, both in Austria and in the UK, reporting that something around the 10 million mark will be needed. But Mark Hendry has reported in his article, Celtic have submitted their bid, and it's highly ridiculous that a fee around that much would be what they're looking for. In fact, these were the exact words. There were claims earlier on Monday that it would take north of €10 million to get Jansson from his current club, but sources close to the situation have poured cold water on those suggestions, telling Celtic here that such a valuation would be super ridiculous for a player of his profile. So nobody really knows the exacts by the sounds of things. What we do know is Celtic have apparently bidded, and it could be way off the mark, because, well, that 10 million price tag is being floated. Mark Hendry has also reported that an unnamed club in France, which I could only assume is Paris FC from the rumours over the weekend, have submitted a bid in over €4 million, in excess of €4 million, which means Celtic right now are, surprise, surprise, trying to shortchange Rapid Vienna if all the details are accurate. They are a little bit behind right now, and I'm assuming that we'll get a knockback at some point during the day and told to catch up with this unnamed French side if we want to land his signature. But the main part of everything here is the ball is apparently rolling. Celtic have made a bid, and that might mean that this is the top option on that right-hand side. We've been talking a lot about guys like Sondre or Yaseta in this window. We're still hearing that Balak-Wisha is very much possible with signing on the left-hand side. It looks as though Celtic have made it clear that Isaac Jansson, Swedish right winger, is going to be the number one target for the Nicholas Kuhn replacement if they just get the money out the pocket. So it's the first big story of the day, and we'll watch how it develops. I would keep a keen eye on social media to see when the next update rolls out. I'll be here, of course. I want to make one point very, very quickly. When I reported this over the weekend and said that this was a £3 million player, perhaps, that Celtic were interested in, I received a lot of negative comments saying that the club were in the wrong market. Why are they shopping for £3-4 million players? We should be aiming for higher. Now, hypothetically speaking, if this story about the 10 million was true, does that suddenly make him a good player? Because if we led with that 10 million price tag, the narrative would be different. And I want to get this off my chest because it's very, very frustrating. As somebody who reports on transfers every day and tries my best to look into these players, we only know so much about anybody, no matter what their price tag is. Unless they're playing in Scotland and England and we have the courtesy of watching all the time, very little people know an awful lot about these guys. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I do. But a price tag isn't anything to do with the quality of the player. The price tag is only what the football club is valuing their own player at. And if the story led at the weekend that Celtic were interested in £10 million rated Isaac Janssen, the people moaning about the £3 million price range would be saying, oh great, it's a £10 million player, just because that's what Rapid Vienna have decided. Rapid Vienna picked the price. That's it. That's all it is. It's not of any other significance. It doesn't matter. Celtic's best signings in recent years, Matt O'Reilly, Dyson Maeda, Rio Hatate, Moussa Dembele, all came into Celtic for less than £2 million. The price tag has nothing to do with the quality of the player. And now we're going to be in the situation where if we do get dragged up a little bit, if we get dragged up to 6, 7, 8, 9 million pounds, say, if that hypothetically happens, people are going to say, well, we're overpaying. We've overpaid. You can't win. People are just wanting to moan for the sake of it. Price tags, of course, dictate some form of expectation when you're getting a player. Of course it does. It rallies up your excitement. It dampens your anticipations. Price tags often do that. But they shouldn't be the be-all, end-all for you when Celtic are signing a player. And that's all I wanted to get off my chest. This story could have been very, very different if it broke at the weekend with the 10 million in it. But instead it led with the 3. And you're letting numbers skew your outlook on a Celtic signing. Don't do it. Wait and see what happens when they get to Celtic. That's when we'll judge them. We know that Celtic should be in the market for a striker this summer, and reports this morning have us linked with Celtic's most recent striker target, and that is Giuseppe Ambrosino of Napoli. Celtic have reportedly made an inquiry for Napoli striker Giuseppe Ambrosino. That came from Sky Sports, a joint report of Anthony Joseph and Luca Bendoni's in Italy. It's understood that Celtic are exploring the conditions of a loan deal with an option to buy for the Italian under-21s international, and it's understood that Ambrosino is keen on a move to Celtic. This is reported by a few outlets now, including Gianluca Di Marzio in Italy, who of course were very, very hot on the Nicholas Kuhn story to Como. Apparently first contacts have been made, initial contact between both parties for a loan with an option to buy after his return from Frosinone last year. And once again, very keen on the move. So this one came out of nowhere over these past 12 hours. It kind of started doing the rounds late last night and really exploded this morning. One that's caught my attention because it seems quite exciting, and even though his goal record at now professional senior level might not be the greatest, he's an Italian under-21, which is obviously one of the top national teams to get into. A lot of competition. He's played there a few times now. He's recently broke through into Serie B, which is a very tough league to score in as well. And with a loan with an option to buy, it could be very smart. At the same time, I do understand it might not be the expectation of what Celtic fans had for a striker in this window. And I say that because going into this window, we were very hot on the story of Mattis Visgaarden, an 11 million rated striker, who I think a lot of Celtic fans had hopes that we'd maybe go for. And then to go from that to a 21-year-old striker, not very proven or experienced at the top level, on a loan option to buy, it is quite a significant drop in standards. But I don't know, I think this young guy looks very, very promising, to be quite honest. I try to be optimistic about most players linked with Celtic, but when you're coming through the Napoli academy and you're playing for the Italian under-21s, you've clearly got a bit about you. And he's keen on the move to Glasgow, which is also a very nice thing to hear, because being at a big club like Napoli, it's not exactly ideal to be linked with moves away. You want to make it there, but if he's keen to come here, then I'm keen to hear him out. Now, he has been loaned out 4 times since turning 18. His most impressive stint in form was at under-19s level for Napoli, where he scored 27 goals and assisted 9. Once again, showing that there is promise in this young striker. His most recent loan move was to Frosinone. He scored 5 goals for them in Serie B last season, assisted 4 on top of that. So, at senior level, he's not hit the heights that I think a lot of people would maybe expect of him yet, but I think that will come. Could it be at Celtic? Should it be at Celtic? That's going to be the big topic of conversation. I'm not totally against this. I feel like there's untapped potential in this guy, but once again, I do understand if there's any frustration around the drop in standard or quality from a top-level striker like Visgaard scoring goals for fun in Denmark, and then somebody who's been playing on loan in the second tier of Italian football. Once again, though, just to reiterate, Celtic are only at the point of inquiry, and we'll see where it goes. But it's one that I'm certainly intrigued about. I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of liking the look of it. I love the thought of Celtic having this big Italian striker. It suits me. Forza Napoli and all that. Bring him in. I want it. And final story for today is one you've probably heard enough about. That's why I've left it till last. We can glance over it very quickly. Stephen McGowan reported last night that Celtic are considering a £3 million transfer swoop for Dutch defender Justin De Haas. The first time we've heard his name linked with Celtic. In his article, he said that Celtic are keen and monitoring on a move for Dutch defender Justin De Haas. Apparently, he's somebody we've been watching for a while, been scouted extensively by Celtic and being looked at now as a serious option. Apparently, with a price tag around £3 million, he was one of the top centre-halves in Portugal last season with Famalicão, and a number of sides across Europe are reportedly interested, Celtic being one. But it's one that came with a few caveats and things to be maybe worried about on the surface, but what it seems, not quite a Celtic/Brendan Rodgers centre-half. I think the big selling point for Justin De Haas is, on top of having a good season with Famalicão, he does look good, don't get me wrong. I think the biggest selling point is the fact he's 6'4". Guy's huge. Something we have lacked in this Celtic team is height. We need height. I've said it for years now. In my match reactions, I talk about the lack of height we have at attacking set pieces, defending set pieces. I think that we really do need it. But the things that folk have reservations about is he's not a very ball-playing centre-half. He's not a Brendan Rodgers centre-half. Big guy, apparently likes to lump the ball up the park. No nonsense. And don't get me wrong, I like these things in a centre-half. I love a big no-nonsense centre-half, but at the end of the day, what's important is that they can fit a system. And is there maybe reservations about him fitting Brendan Rodgers' system? Or do the positives outweigh it, you know? Left-footed, plays on the left side of the fence. Bingo. What we need beside Cameron Carter-Vickers. 6'4", height that we desperately need. Bingo. We need it. Is there room to say that the positives of a player like Justin De Haas would make up for the time it would take to catch him up with becoming a ball-playing centre-half, or do we not have time to waste on that? It'll all come down to your own perspective, I would say. I don't think he looks like a bad option. I think there could be much better out there. I think we need to be willing to spend more on centre-halves to find what we really need. But I've certainly seen worse linked with Celtic, so it's only a consideration right now from the club. You'll have already read and seen plenty about it, but he is the freshest name on in these reports and these stories over the past 24 hours, and we'll see if that goes anywhere this week. Right, I've spoke far too long. I'm going to get out of here. Let me know your opinions in the comments below. I'm assuming that things are going to change rapidly, so bear with me while we wait on those changes. Right, take care of yourself. God bless, and I'll see you all next time.